And after Hamas rejected the last few offers, a new round of talks for the release of the hostages in exchange for a pause in fighting is underway in Qatar. Joining us now with the details is ILTV correspondent Rachel Safdie. Rachel, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Lidar.
So an Israeli team has gone to Qatar for another round of negotiations. All the previous rounds have failed, been rejected by Hamas. What can you tell us about this latest round?
Yes, Lidar. So what's interesting about this latest round is that now we have the team that has gone to Qatar led by the Mossad chief, David Barnea. And we get from Israeli reports that Israeli officials aren't necessarily optimistic towards these next rounds of negotiations. They say that they expect that it'll last at least 2 weeks of these indirect talks. Now, we understand that what Hamas has requested in the last round of deals is that they want a multiple phase deal, where the first phase would actually be good for Israel. We would see the release of around 40 hostages, including female soldiers, the elderly and the wounded, and they would want the IDF to leave certain areas of northern Gaza. But on the second phase, they would want to see technically the complete evacuation of IDF troops from Gaza as a whole, and that would mean pretty much losing the war for Israel. So we'll have to see how the negotiations will look.
And that's a red line that Israel's not prepared to cross. And, you know, I want to talk a little bit about the hostages. It's been 165 days. There are still 134 hostages being held by Hamas. You know, we've heard some new details recently in the Israeli press as well of the mother of one of the hostages about the conditions in which her daughter is being held. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, so recently we heard from Shira Elbag, the mother of Liri Elbag, a 19-year-old girl that is still being held hostage by Hamas. Shira she revealed to the media, to Israeli media, on a conversation she had in November with released hostages that were released in the deal we had in late November regarding the conditions and the abuse that they lived through and that they saw her daughter being lived through as well. We understand that some of the forms of the abuse that she's going through is she has to cook for the family that is keeping her, and yet she cannot eat that food. She has to clean their house. She has to look after their kids, look after the kids of her captors. Not only to mention how she didn't even wish to mention the sexual abuse that she doesn't even want to think about as her little girl is there. And she appealed to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and to the government, stressing that they need to do all that they can to bring her daughter and the other 133 hostages home.
All right, let's hope that we're able to bring them home soon. Rachel Safdie, thank you so much for your report.